New Zealand may be about to make one of the most important naval decisions in the South Pacific. And the reason is not just that Wellington needs new frigates. The real reason is that one of the leading options is the same Japanese warship family Australia has already selected, the upgraded Mogami-class frigate, that turns this from a normal procurement story into something much bigger. Because if New Zealand chooses the Mogami, it would not just be replacing two old ships. It could be joining Australia in a shared regional frigate ecosystem built around a Japanese design. Same broad platform family, similar training, similar maintenance, similar logistics, similar upgrade path, and potentially much smoother combined operations between the Royal New Zealand Navy and the Royal Australian Navy. And that matters because New Zealand is not buying ships for a quiet world. It has a massive maritime area to monitor, Pacific partners to support, sea lanes to protect, coalition missions to join, and a navy that has to do a lot with limited manpower and limited budget. So the choice between Japan's Mogami and Britain's Type 31 is not just about which ship looks better on paper. It is about what kind of navy New Zealand wants for the next 30 years. New Zealand's current frigates, HMNZ-St Ikaha and HMNZ-St Mana, are Anzac-class ships. They have served for decades, but they are aging, and their replacement is becoming unavoidable. For a country like New Zealand, a frigate is not just a symbol. It is the ship that allows the Navy to operate far from home, escort friendly forces, contribute to coalition security, respond to crises, support Pacific Island partners, and show presence in contested or unstable waters. This is why the decision is so important. New Zealand does not have the luxury of buying many different classes for many different roles. Its next frigate has to be flexible. It has to handle maritime security, surveillance, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, coalition operations, and higher-end naval tasks if needed. It also has to be sustainable for a small navy. That means crew size, maintenance burden, fuel efficiency, spare parts, training, and long-term support may matter almost as much as missile count, and that is where the Mogami becomes so interesting. Because Japan is offering a modern, automated, multi-mission frigate that was designed from the beginning to reduce crew workload while still carrying serious combat systems. But Britain's Type 31 is also a strong contender, because it offers a larger hull, proven export logic, modularity, and long-term growth space. So this is not a weak competition. This is Japan versus the United Kingdom, automation versus adaptability, regional commonality versus traditional defense ties. Before we go deeper into the Mogami itself, if you're enjoying this kind of detailed defense analysis, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments. It really helps this project reach more people. The Mogami-class is one of the most interesting frigate designs in service today. The baseline Japanese version is roughly 133 meters long, displaces around 3,900 tons standard and around 5,500 tons full load, and is designed for speeds above 30 knots. It uses a combined diesel and gas propulsion arrangement, giving it both efficient cruising and high-speed performance when needed. But the most important feature is not simply speed. It is automation. The Mogami was designed to operate with a crew of around 90 sailors, much smaller than many frigates of comparable capability. For New Zealand, this is a major advantage. A small navy can struggle not because it lacks hulls, but because it lacks enough trained people to keep those hulls operational. A warship that reduces crew requirements can improve real readiness, because it makes it easier to keep ships deployed, maintained, and rotated without exhausting the force. Technically, the Mogami is a compact but serious surface combatant. It has a stealth-shaped hull, an integrated mast, and a modern combat information center designed to reduce workload and centralize control of sensors, weapons, and ship systems. The baseline Japanese ships include the Mitsubishi Electric OPY-2 multifunction radar, electro-optical sensors, electronic warfare systems, and a combat management architecture built for fast reaction. The class also carries sonar and mine countermeasure capability, including the ability to work with unmanned systems for mine warfare. That makes the Mogami more than a simple escort ship. It is a multi-domain frigate that can contribute to surface warfare, air defense, anti-submarine work, and mine countermeasures. In weapons, the standard Mogami class is usually associated with a 127mm main gun, anti-ship missiles, SeaRAM close-in air defense, torpedo capability, helicopter operations, and vertical launch capacity depending on configuration. It can operate a naval helicopter such as the SH-60 family, giving it much greater reach for anti-submarine warfare and surveillance. It also has decoy and electronic warfare systems to help defeat incoming missiles, confuse enemy sensors, and improve survivability. But the version New Zealand would likely study most seriously is not just the baseline Mogami. It is the upgraded Mogami, or new FFM concept, which is larger and more capable. This upgraded design is about 142 meters long, around 6,200 tons full load, and is expected to carry 32 Mk-41 vertical launch cells. That is a major step up. With 32 VLS cells, the ship can carry a more serious mix of surface-to-air missiles, anti-submarine rockets, and potentially other weapons depending on customer configuration. It also offers improved sensors, electronic warfare, endurance, and blue water capability. That is why the Mogami is so appealing. It is not the largest ship in the contest, but it offers a very modern balance: high automation, strong firepower for its size, good speed, advanced sensors, helicopter capability, unmanned systems integration, and a design philosophy that fits small navies trying to do more with fewer people. But the British Type 31 should not be dismissed. In fact, it may be the more flexible ship in some areas. The Type 31 is based on Babcock's Arrowhead 140 design, itself derived from the Danish Iver Huitfeldt family. It is a large general-purpose frigate, roughly 139 meters long and around 5,700 tons full load, depending on configuration. It was designed to be exportable, adaptable, and relatively affordable compared with more specialized high-end frigates. The Type 31's strongest argument is the hull. It has space, weight, and power margins that make future upgrades easier. That matters because a frigate bought in the 2030s may still be serving in the 2060s. During that time, threats will change. Drones will become more common. Anti-ship missiles will become faster and smarter. Electronic warfare will become more important. Navies will need more space for new sensors, new launchers, new command systems, and possibly more unmanned vehicles. A larger hull gives New Zealand more room to adapt. The Royal Navy's Type 31 configuration includes the Thales Tacticos Combat Management System, modern 3D surveillance radar such as the Thales NS-110, electro-optical systems, communications equipment, and mission systems suited for maritime security and general-purpose tasks. In weapons, the British version uses a 57mm main gun, two 40mm guns, Sea Scepter air defense missiles, and is being fitted with Mk-41 vertical launch cells to increase future missile flexibility. It also has a flight deck and hangar able to support naval helicopters such as Wildcat or Merlin-sized aircraft, depending on the configuration and operational requirement. For export customers, the Arrowhead 140 design can be adapted with different weapons and sensors. A New Zealand Type 31 could theoretically include anti-ship missiles, a stronger air defense fit, electronic warfare equipment, decoy launchers, a towed sonar, or other mission systems depending on cost and requirements. This is the key point: Type 31 is a platform with room to grow. It may not be as automation-focused as Mogami, but it gives Wellington a bigger box to customize. The downside is that the Type 31 does not bring the same immediate regional commonality as the Mogami. Britain is a trusted defense partner, and the Type 31 has strong export logic. But Australia has already moved toward the Japanese design. So if New Zealand chooses Type 31, it may gain flexibility, but it may lose some of the shared platform benefits that would come from choosing the same family as Australia. So the choice is not simple. Japan offers a ship that looks almost tailor-made for New Zealand's manpower problem and regional situation. The Mogami is modern, automated, stealthy, fast, and increasingly important in the Indo-Pacific. It also comes with the huge advantage that Australia has already selected a Mogami-derived frigate for its own future fleet. Britain offers something different. The Type 31 is bigger, adaptable, and backed by a long naval industrial tradition. It may be easier to customize, easier to expand over time, and attractive for a navy that wants a flexible hull rather than a tightly optimized design. It also preserves traditional defense industrial links with the United Kingdom and the wider Commonwealth defense world. In simple terms, Mogami is the regional interoperability choice. Type 31 is the adaptable platform choice. Mogami is about automation, Pacific alignment, and following Australia. Type 31 is about hull volume, export maturity, and future growth space, and both ships could work. That is what makes the decision so interesting. Australia's decision may be the factor that pushes Mogami ahead. Canberra selected the upgraded Mogami for its C-3000 general-purpose frigate program, with the first ships to be built in Japan and later ships planned for construction in Western Australia. This gives the Japanese design a level of regional credibility it did not have before. For New Zealand, choosing the same broad platform family could create very real benefits. Shared training, shared spare parts, shared maintenance knowledge, shared simulators, shared upgrade planning, and better interoperability in combined operations. If both navies operate similar ships, they can learn from each other, sustain each other more easily, and coordinate more effectively during joint deployments. This matters because Australia is New Zealand's closest defense partner. The two navies already operate in overlapping regions and often face similar maritime challenges. A shared frigate ecosystem would make practical sense. It would not make New Zealand a major naval power overnight, but it could make the Royal New Zealand Navy much more integrated into the regional security architecture. It would also be a major win for Japan. If both Australia and New Zealand move toward the Mogami family, Japan would become a serious supplier of advanced surface combatants to Pacific allies. That would be a historic shift for a country that spent decades being cautious about defense exports. The real question is not simply which ship is better. The real question is which ship better fits New Zealand's future. If Wellington wants maximum alignment with Australia, reduced crew pressure, a highly automated ship, and a design already gaining momentum in the Indo-Pacific, then the Mogami is extremely compelling. It gives New Zealand a modern frigate with strong combat systems, serious firepower in the upgraded version, good speed, helicopter capability, electronic warfare, mine countermeasure features, and a realistic path toward shared regional sustainment. If Wellington wants a larger hull, more customization, more internal volume, and potentially greater long-term adaptability, then Type 31 remains a strong option. It may offer more room for future systems, more flexibility in configuration, and a more familiar British export pathway, but Australia's choice changes the strategic calculation. New Zealand does not have to choose in isolation. If it selects Mogami, it may be joining a broader regional model that could reduce risk, improve interoperability, and create a more unified Australia-New Zealand naval presence in the South Pacific. So here is the bottom line: New Zealand's frigate decision is about much more than replacing two aging Anzac-class ships. It is about manpower, geography, alliances, technology, sustainment, and the future shape of naval power in the South Pacific. The Mogami-class offers automation, speed, stealth, modern sensors, electronic warfare, helicopter operations, mine countermeasure capability, and, in the upgraded version, a much more powerful 32-cell vertical launch system. It is compact, but very capable, and its selection by Australia makes it strategically attractive. The Type 31 offers a larger hull, strong modularity, export maturity, modern radar and combat systems, helicopter facilities, flexible weapons options, and more room for future upgrades. It may be the better choice if New Zealand prioritizes adaptability over platform commonality, but if New Zealand chooses the Mogami, the message will be clear: Wellington is not just buying a frigate. It is aligning its future surface fleet more closely with Australia and Japan in the Indo-Pacific, and that could make a small navy much more connected, much more sustainable, and much more relevant in a region where naval power is becoming more important every year. Now I want to hear from you. Should New Zealand follow Australia and choose Japan's Mogami-class frigate? Or should it choose Britain's Type 31 for more flexibility and traditional defense ties? Drop your take in the comments. And if you enjoyed this naval breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next one.